It's time for Inside the Jets, presented by EY, building a better working world. Now, here's Bart Scott and Dan Graca.
And welcome into another edition of Inside the Jets, presented by EY, building a better working world. Dan Graca back with you once again, joined as always by my co-host. He is, of course, former New York Jet linebacker. It is Bart Scott. Bart, happy Victory Monday, my friend. How's things?
Absolutely, man. Like I tell you, all we have to do is face this division leaders and we'll be good. We'll go undefeated. Give us the best teams. We play down to our competition. Let us play up.
That's it. Jets only have 2 wins so far this year, but there is probably 2 as good of wins as maybe any team has in the National Football League. Fun day in MetLife Stadium yesterday on Halloween. Certainly more treat than trick for the Jets and their fans. They walk out of the stadium with a 34-31 triumph over the first-place Cincinnati Bengals. A game, Bart, and there's so many things to unpack from this football game, but when you boil down to the fourth quarter, they were down by 2 scores with about 7.5 minutes left in that football game. They were the only team this year in the National Football League to erase a 2-score deficit in the last 5 minutes of a football game. The Jets are the first, and they get a victory over the Bengals.
We have to give a lot of credit to this defense who continued to fight, made the Bengals one-dimensional. You talk about holding Joe Mixon down. You talk about standing up on their toes early in the game. You know, Elijah Moore, tremendous hustle on a turnover. And as long as there's a blade of grass in between them and the end zone, they're not in till they're in, and the defense stood up. And I thought, the team did a great job, even though they had the 3 turnovers. The fact that they were able to just stick together and finally play a complimentary game of football. You talk about the reason why that defense was able to still have some gas left in the tank late in the game is the fact that they didn't have to play a lot of snaps in the first quarter, something that had plagued them the entire season. The fact that the team methodically moved the ball down the field, they kind of took what the defense gave them, and you look up, right? 10 yards, 15 yards, 5 yards, and all that adds up to almost 511 yards of total offense. You have to tip your hat to LaFleur. Maybe he'll never, ever come to the sidelines again. But the fact that, you have to take your hat off to 2 guys, to me, Michael Carter, and you have to take your hat off to Mike White, in a debut to be put in the same class with some of the names that he's put in with Benny Testaverde, Steve Young, all the things. He deserves all that he gets today. And on the short week, what I like about it, can't bask in it too much because you have a formidable opponent coming on Thursday. So that's the good part about it. They can enjoy it, and finally they can say, you know what? The things that we've been doing and been preaching, finally, now Saleh can walk in there with his chest out high and say, listen, this is what it looks like when we play together. We can beat anybody because one of the hottest teams in all of football was the Cincinnati Bengals.
No doubt about it, and especially what they had done the past 2 weeks and winning 2 straight games on the road by an average margin of victory, something like 23 points, and doing it against a good Baltimore Ravens team just last week here. Yeah. Tremendous victory by the Jets. You said it. I mean, consistently on offense, all 4 quarters, they never let up. They rolled out over 500 yards of total offense. It was a game of first on a lot of levels. It was the first points they scored in the first quarter all season. They get the first interception on the defensive side of the ball. Who had Shaq Lawson? Who had Shaq Lawson in the office pool getting the first interception? But that play in the fourth quarter helped engineer the comeback. And yeah, let's just get right to it here. Let's not bury the lead any further. Mike White, his first NFL start. You ran off some names there, Bart. The only guy to throw for more yards than Mike White did in his first ever start was Cam Newton about 10 years ago there. What this guy did, I don't know if anybody saw it coming, but hey, the Jets are better off for it.
Well, luck is when preparation meets opportunity. And, I think Saleh really, hit the nail on the head when he talked about the difference between player A and player Z. It's opportunity. And now Mike White's going to get opportunity. He's already been named the starter for Thursday. The Jets have some decisions to make, right? You talk about the trade deadline, what's going on. But right now it's all about, making sure that you can handle the Colts and take care of business with the Colts. And then you look at it, you can be streaking. And if you're 3-5, you're right there with everybody, right? If you're able to play like this, defense, I thought it was tremendous to have C.J. Mosley back. The fact that you saw all those screens, finally it hit them, retrace your steps. And they closed that down. And really the Bengals were really leaning on that because that was their go-to plays. I thought the defensive line played great. And Mike and Robert Saleh said, Coach Saleh said, hey, we're going to go as far as our defensive line. And yesterday,
Yep.
to see Zuniga, come out and be able to provide some sauce, to look at the rotation and the depth. And in your mind, you're envisioning, man, one day Carl Lawson's going to be in this mix with all these hungry young players that are really starting to mature right before our eyes. I can't tip my hat off enough to the corners, right? And the Carters and the Echols and everybody out there that you talk about. Jamar Chase, man, this dude's on pace for 1,000 yards by the bye week. And like you talk about, to hold him to 3 catches, to hold the running game down defensively, that's what we have been waiting for and being put in inopportune times, just being able to answer the bell. Now, is it perfect? It never is. But what you love is the resiliency from this team and the fact that they're able to get everything done. It's amazing.
No doubt about it. And still 10 more opportunities to pick up wins here for this New York Jets team. But let's go back again and revisit the performance of Mike White, the quarterback. After the game, he caught up with Jets play-by-play voice Bob Wischusen.
Mike White, explain what we just saw.
Oh, what we saw was a group of guys that just fought their tails off. I mean, just from the beginning to end, the adversity we faced early and our defense picking us up. And then in the second half, offense picking defense up, and then defense made an unbelievable play, and we were able to capitalize on it. It was just a complete group effort, and I think that was the coolest part of it. Is it wasn't one guy or one side of the ball. It was a full team effort.
It's great to say that, and you're awesome for giving all of your teammates as much credit as you did. But you're going to be the story out of this game. A 400-yard performance in your first ever start. Why did you look so comfortable right from the start? I mean, we probably expect a quarterback would settle into the game. You looked like the same guy on the first drive that you did on the last drive. Explain that.
I think it just goes into preparation and trusting the plan we put together, that Coach LaFleur put together, and trusting the guys around us to execute. We had a great 3 days of practice. Guys were on their stuff, walkthroughs towards the end of the week. It was smooth, and I think it's just like, I mean, I hate to say it, but I can't do it by myself. I mean, they got to catch, they got to break tackles. I mean, Ty Johnson, the touchdown he scored. I mean, Braxton Berrios, the unbelievable catch, and Tyler Croft getting open versus man on the third one. I mean, I only deliver the ball, and so it's just it's an awesome feeling going into that locker room and hugging those guys and realizing getting a game ball for my first win. It was indescribable. And
the mood in this locker room. I mean, I'm hearing it sounds like New Year's Eve on the other side of these doors. So what do you think it meant to this team? This was a game you're making your first ever start. This is a team that you're facing today that was fighting it out for a division title, it looks like. No one saw this win coming. What does it mean to you, but also this whole group?
I think that's what makes it that much sweeter is there are about 70-plus guys that did see this coming, and they were in that locker room, and that's what that celebration is the confirmation that we believed it beforehand, and we went out there and we did it. We overcame adversity. It wasn't a smooth win, even down to the last drive. I mean, it was an awesome win.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
All right, thanks a lot, Bob, and thanks a lot, Mike. And remember, Jets fans, you can watch Inside the Jets through the Jets app presented by Fubo Sportsbook. Go to the App Store or Google Play right now and search official New York Jets. You know, when you look at this offense, Bart, and we had talked about it, a little bit earlier, just getting so many guys incorporated into the mix. I think there were 10 different players that caught passes from Mike White yesterday. It just goes to show you there is a lot of ability. There is a lot of talent on this team, and maybe it just hasn't been tapped yet, but still 10 more games to go. Possibilities are endless.
Well, you talk about, the possibilities for this team and its defense. You talk about this offense as well. You talk about being able to get guys involved into the game plan. You talk about, the ball going where the defense dictates for it to go. And I thought White did a great job, and he did it the week before against the Patriots, but the turnovers, derailed a lot of the drives. You talk about, he steps back, he's not afraid to give the ball. You talk about 160 yards of productivity came from the running back position. That's not anything about dropping back and reading the coverages. It's like going back, seeing guys covered, give it to your playmaker, allow them to do the work. And that's what we've been preaching for Zach Wilson to do, is to give his guys a chance. And you saw White stay calm in the pocket the entire time. He stayed in the pocket, no scrambling. And that offensive line looked tremendous, because they knew exactly where the quarterback was going to be. He was going to be making his decisions from within the pocket, and he was able to make, great decisions. And I love the way that, LaFleur was able to add some tricks to the trade, Philly special, and keep teams on their toes. And you talk about the commitment to the run as well. Ty Johnson, I think, coming in as a complimentary back, being able to close the game out, being able to be physical, run through some tackles, get some much needed first downs. I think it was key. And listen, this game, the best thing that you can ever do is have a tough game and make mistakes, but have the victory, because you talk about Carter, thinking that he had got the first down just a little bit short, right? And those are the things that come. But you feel so much better when you're able to learn on the fly. And, you talk about this young core, this young nucleus. They have some good, tremendous players. It was unfortunate that Fat, got injured. Let's see if Mekhi Becton can be able to make his debut on a short week. I know he's been chopping at the bit to come back. And listen, Mims, everybody was included into the game plan. Yeah. And I like that, because what happens is when you have a lot of weapons or you go to everybody, it's hard for defenses to really put game plans together to take something away. Now, when Corey Davis comes back, he's going to have to find a way to still be able to distribute the ball to everybody. That way it makes your team so much more harder to defend because everybody's included in it.
You said the word game plan, and I talked about this yesterday on the pregame show, as a matter of fact. We saw Mike White come off the bench in the New England game, and he distinguished himself pretty well, right? He was poised. He looked like he belonged. He didn't look flustered. Okay, but he came off playing as a quarterback that the Patriots weren't expecting to see on the field. Mm-hmm. Yesterday, going into that game against Cincinnati, the Bengals knew that Mike White was starting. They had an entire week to game plan for Mike White. They had film on Mike White for 2.5 quarters in the New England game. And the fact that he still went out there and played as well as he did, that to me is even extra impressive.
I mean, you talk about, right, understanding who the opponent was, understanding that this wasn't a team that was going to give you a lot of different looks, different schemes. They're going to line up in their 2 shell, their cover 3 shell, and they're going to have 4-man rushing. And listen, I think LaFleur had a tremendous game plan of how to take advantage of. You saw a lot of whams, a lot of wolves, a lot of quick hitting plays. And when they sunk down and switched their defense up to a 3-4, that's where the zone and the stretch plays came in, because that's where the advantage is. So I think Mike White did a tremendous job in understanding the game plan, but understanding the defense and what they were going to get. They were going to get linebackers dropping deep into their zones, and the check down was going to be right there, right? And I feel like he rushed a couple of throws, right? The throw off of Carter's head, not understanding that he had, ran into some trash on the checkout, and those are things that you can get back. But understanding how to attack the defense is half the battle. Now, this week, they're going to have a similar opponent that's going to line up and just going to play with tremendous depth and, maybe a little bit more aggressiveness and blitzing, but not too much.
This is Inside the Jets, brought to you by Selective Insurance. Be uniquely insured. Now, when we come back on the show, we're going to be joined by Jets standout linebacker C.J. Mosley as the team gets set to take on the Colts on Thursday night. This is Inside the Jets, presented by EY, building a better working world. And welcome back to Inside the Jets, presented by EY, building a better working world. Dan Graca alongside Bart Scott. It's time now for our player guest segment, also brought to you by EY, building a better working world. And he is Jets linebacker, fresh off a 10-tackle performance in the win over the Cincinnati Bengals yesterday. It is C.J. Mosley. C.J., Dan Graca, Bart Scott, thanks for joining us today. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me.
I tell you what, man, I don't know where to start, man. There's so many different layers to this victory, but just one, how did you guys get it done defensively, and how good did it feel to watch the offense be able to move the ball and put points on the board so that you guys can rest and actually be fans?
Right. Honestly, at the end of the day, we got to stop when we needed to. In the close games that we lost, there's always been some time in the moment, third, fourth quarter, 2 minute, where the defense needed a big play, needed to stop. And we weren't able to get that. And, yesterday we was able to get that big stop that we needed. Lost with the beautiful interception. Us coming back out again, getting a stop on third down to let our offense go out there and take the knee for the victory. So we stepped up when we really needed to. So that was big for us.
Well, you know what they say? They say fatigue makes cowards of us all. But I just think the fact that the offense was able to just control the time of possession, you guys still had gas in the tank to be able to still be, high percentage decision makers when it came down to those periods. Because you look at, Zuniga comes off, you look at Lawson, you guys had your full complement of rotational players on the defensive side. So you guys kept them under Burrow under pressure the entire game.
Yeah, it was a great team win. You always talk about complementary football, and that was the definition of it. That was the formula of it. From the start of the game, the offense going out, taking the ball down the field, making plays here and there, not forcing it, keeping the clock moving, and scoring the touchdown. And us coming off and just playing good football, and a lot of credit to our special teams as well, controlling the field. Making plays on punt team and kickoff, pinning those guys down the 20, 25-yard line. That played a big part as well. So it was a great collective team win.
Collective team win, complimentary football, all those terms, CJ. And when you look at the offense and all the yardage and all the points they were able to roll up, certainly the best performance of the season. And Mike White coming off the bench to make that start yesterday, his first career start. Maybe a surprise to the outside world, but to you guys in that locker room, this really didn't take a lot of you by surprise. What has Mike White shown you guys on the practice field behind closed doors that you all were confident in his ability to go out there and get the job done yesterday?
Well, the way he approaches his job every day, showed in his first start when he's showing scout team reps, making plays, throwing the ball. He's throwing it with confidence when he's coming in after Zach on the one offense. He's showing confidence when he throws the ball. He's moving in the pocket. He's making big throws. He has a good arm. So those throws and stuff that we saw yesterday, we've been seeing that all year. So this. One thing about this, about this team, about this league, when an opportunity presents itself, when you work and do the right things, you're going to shine when the moment comes. And he definitely did that. So, man, a lot of respect for him for stepping up and carrying us and leading us to this big victory. And we got to keep rolling. So because this week is all about mental preparation. We're physically able and ready, to be on the football field to battle. But we definitely got to make sure we're in our playbook. And, because the game plan's not going to change too much on the short week. So it's a lot of mental preparation for this week for this team.
When you talk about Mike White and how decisive he was, back foot hit the ground, and he was making a decision with the football. And the beneficiary of that a lot of times was Michael Carter, right, who put, together his best game as a pro. But, me and you, we've gone against a lot of running backs. Who does he remind you of? Because to me, he reminds me of Ahmad Bradshaw. Like, everybody thinks they're going to blow him up. He's like a little pocket Hercules, little Mighty Mouse under there. How impressed were you with him, and what makes him so difficult to bring down?
He got a little Jones Drew in him, if you think about it. short, stocky. He got those strong legs. You think somebody's going to get him down off the one tackle, but he always finds a way to get more yards on the first contact. He's getting yards. So, I joked around with him. It was either in camp or springtime. He didn't want to do one of the stretches for warm up. And it was like, man, once you get 150 all-purpose yard, then you can talk about not doing something. So, the seventh game in, he already racked up 150. So I mean, he's a valuable asset. He worked hard to get to where he is, and he's proven it. So and he's a young leader. Some people don't know that or not. You always see him, joking and stuff on social media, but he's came up to me multiple occasions, asking, how to lead, how he can help the offense, how he can help the team. So you want to see that in your young guys, and when he's producing on the field and has that mindset off the field, that's good for that side of the room, for his individual room, and for this team, because our core guys, our young guys like him, are going to be the reason we turn this thing around.
That's crazy, right? Because Deion Sanders used to say all the time, you never saw a cheetah stretch. You know what I mean? But that was prime time. I didn't know that Michael Carter had something in common with prime. But when you think about it, being on a short week, such a short week, does that really help you guys? Because the city of New York, we know, you see what's happening with the Knicks. You win 2 games, they parade like they're going to the championship. Does the short week help you guys kind of stay focused? Because you understand that, listen, the Colts are coming off a tough loss. They may feel like they have an opportunity to get back in this thing, because I don't know if you heard the news about Derrick Henry potentially being out for the season. That changes that team dramatically. So the Colts may, play with desperation, because they know if they lose one more, they may be out. Does the short week help you guys focus so you guys don't get all these pats on the back?
I would say the outside noise really won't affect us, whether it's a short week or not. But I think it does help us keep our game plan simple. We saw what works for our team in this game. So I think it's going to be good for us to, really dive into what benefits our football team, what benefits our offense, what gets them going, what gets our defense in the right position to line up and just play football, and what can we do on special team to create a explosive play or get a turnover. And I think with this short week, we won't have to worry about, all right, we got a game plan for this. We can just go off what we did really well in this game and what we did well in the past. Obviously, add a few nicks there for our new opponent and go from there. And at the end of the day, line up and play football. So that's what it's all about.
Now, listen, I know you're a modest guy. I know this. I know you're a modest guy. First of all, you coming back, it seemed like you guys had 5 or 6 screen periods or something because y'all was on point on your screens. You're like, we're not getting beat by a damn screen again. But I know Thursday night, prime time, I think a lot of people have forgot what a great football player you were. Since you've been gone, Warner's been linked with being the best middle linebacker. Leonard's been linked. Is this an opportunity for you to remind the world? Not remind yourself, because listen, we know who you are. But listen, those guys are new to this. Yeah. You've been true to this. You've been playing at a high level for a long time. And I think because you bowed out for a second, you missed a year last year for COVID and you had the injury. Dudes ain't been putting the type of respect on your name that is deserved when they say CJ 57, 357 Mosley. Is it a little bit in your mind that you're going to want to remind people what time it is and who the best middle linebacker is in this game? I know you're modest, but I got to ask the question. I got to ask the question because you know how competitive linebackers are.
Yeah. Man,
see what he's getting at, CJ? Could you tell?
Oh, that's funny. But it's these past 2 years has been a blessing in disguise for me, honestly. My younger days in Baltimore, I had a great time. I always loved playing with my brothers. I still keep up with them. But I honestly feel like I'm a better football player now than I was at Baltimore. Obviously, you get better with age. You see more things. You learn more things. And I think I'm a better leader. So back to your question, but the game is young, and we all know this, and the linebackers that are in this league are playing at a high level, making plays. But I always just been a guy that I do all my talking on the field. Like when you put on the film,
but are you not the best middle linebacker in the game?
When you put on the film, that it'll answer your question. That's all I can say.
Well, what if I don't have access to a film and all I got is be able to ask you who the best middle damn linebacker is in the game?
You better record a TV copy of the game.
Oh man,
that's it. DVR.
Okay. I want to be a little pistol starter, but I let the resume speak for itself. 4-time Pro Bowler, correct?
Hey, let it speak.
Okay. Well, I'll let you off the hook that time. All right, I'll let you off the hook. I'll do. Listen, I'll be the little fire starter. I'll be Flavor Flav. You know what I'm saying? And I'll be your hype man. Don't worry, I'll talk that talk for you now.
I know. Hey, that's why you're here.
Gonna get the Pro Bowl campaign going now already. Now that we're in November, let's start it up. Let's churn it.
No, we done with Pro Bowls. We all pros, baby. We ain't about that.
All pro
we about that all pro.
All pro
and Pro Bowl.
Nobody wants to go to Disney World. You can do that yourself. Until they bring the Hawaii back, nobody cares about the Pro Bowl.
CJ, hang tight. We got to get a quick break in here. More with CJ Mosley on Inside the Jets, presented by EY, building a better working world. And welcome back to Inside the Jets, and our player guest segment is brought to you by EY, building a better working world. Dan Graca and Bart Scott, joined by Jet linebacker CJ Mosley. You guys were coming off a game last week in New England. You didn't play because of injury, but it was a rough one. You guys, in a sense, a lot of players felt they got embarrassed in that game up in Foxborough. How much was that a talking point in the locker room all week leading up to this Cincinnati game, in the sense that you wanted to get out there and show the world that that wasn't the real New York Jets team that went up to play the Patriots last week?
Honestly, after Monday, we didn't talk about it anymore. We came in and watched the film. We judged ourselves real hard. We criticized ourselves on what we need to do to execute, and we saw what losing football looked like. We didn't execute well. Our plays that we call all the time, we weren't executing. We weren't looking at the right things. So this week, it was all about our details and us versus us. You versus you. Like I said in our speech to the team for this game, because at the end of the day, you got to line up and do your job better than the man that's across the ball from you. And you saw signs of that in our game this past weekend. So we got to take that mentality, that mindset that. When we get a call, when we line up and do our job, and we all do it together, the results will affect for themselves. So I think that game was a real learning lesson. I think that game really showed what this team is about, because we could have came in this game, still thinking about, all right, let's not let what we did last week happen. Let's play let's play normal football. But we came out and didn't miss a beat. We came out confident. And we really wanted, honestly, in my opinion, I think we really wanted to prove like what this team is really about. And I think, our young guys are really starting to see that and feel that. And once you get wins the way we got the win this past weekend, you really can start believing in our process and what we're trying to do and the culture that we're trying to build here.
Now, you've been that young guy a lot, right? You've been that young guy before on a great defense around great players, and now you are that great player surrounded by young players. How do you keep them grounded? But also, how impressed have you been with the secondary? And not particularly because we expect Marcus May to be who he is, right? We understand his resume. But I'm talking about these young corners because Jamar Chase, took our boy Humphreys, to the woodshed last week and almost went for 300. But then for you guys to hold him to 3 receptions yesterday, and these guys were competing. It's not like, he was like, doubled all the time. A lot of times he's on that island man to man, and he got a touchdown, but these guys are really competing at a high level. A lot of people question this defense early in the season and in the offseason about, hey, they need to get some veteran corners in there. How impressed are you with these young corners and their ability to compete and always continue to step up and be a non-issue?
Well, besides them actually like making plays and really showing who they are with the not having the experience, I'm also impressed with how they bounce back. When you see them make a catch down the field, give up a play, they're not obviously showing frustration. They want to make the play, but they're not on the sideline, going by themselves. They're not on the sideline moping or pointing fingers or not thinking about the next play. When something happens or something don't go their way, they next play they're ready to go. And that's what I love and respect most about our whole young core, rookies and first, second, third year, fourth year guys. Because you think about it, that's the majority of every football team. Those guys in the middle. There's always gonna be a few vets here and there, and the rookies that's gonna stand out and do their job. But that the core group, that's really the foundation of your football team. And I've been saying this since OTA, since training camp, man. I really believe in our core and our young guys. And once they believe in themselves and they really want to change this program around, it's gonna be a lot of fun in the coming years. And I think this past game, I hope gave them the belief and gave them the sight of when you come ready to play. We can play with any team that we step across, no matter who it is and no matter what they have, because they get paid just like we get paid. They got a job like we have one. And when you have the right mindset that you're coming to be a champion every day, that you're coming to win a football game, win a division, win a conference and a Super Bowl every day, you're going to see those changes.
And now that, okay, you have a big win under your belt and good teams string wins together. That's how you establish that consistency. That's how you become a good team. A few weeks ago, you guys had a big win over Tennessee, and then you followed it up with a couple of losses. Do you draw back on maybe some of the mistakes over the last couple of weeks when you didn't walk off the field victorious to not let that happen again, now trying to build off this big victory over Cincinnati?
I don't think you draw back. I think you keep going forward. You build out this momentum that we've created. And like you said, the good teams find a way to win games, win games back to back, win games in a row. So that's what we have to do this weekend. We can't help that it's a Thursday night game and it's a quick turnaround. Good teams don't make excuses; they just go do it, and we just have to go do it some kind of way. As long as we come back with a win.
Hey, take us in the locker room after the win because, you talk about Saleh, he's faced his first bump and realizing what it's like to be in this media market. But I tell you what, when I looked at him at the sideline, man, I thought I was looking at Homer Simpson with that, like, stress beard he got going on, man. Is he able to cut the stress beard now, Max? He was looking like Homer yesterday. What's up with that?
Simpson.
It looked like it was a shadow. It looked like no hair follicles that came out. It just turned black.
Usually he cuts it, like, because I noticed it during the week. He'll have a 5 o'clock shadow in the morning, but when practice comes, it's shade. So, I guess, it's sometimes it's just, you see, I'm all ruffled up. So when you're in the season, you hunting, you got your head down, you just got to go to work. You ain't got time to shave and look pretty. You just got to go get dirty and play ball.
It's like
I like it.
It's like Jesse the Body.
We want to know with the beard. So you might need to keep it.
That's what I'm saying. So I might have to keep it. It's gonna get uncomfortable.
No shave, November. Let's see where it can go.
Yeah, you know how those stages of the beards go, man. Like right now, it's cool, but once a couple more days, it's gonna curl start itching, man.
As long as you keep it lined up.
It's almost like Jesse Body Ventura and Predator. Ain't got time to breathe. Saleh ain't got time to shave. We got work to do.
We got work to do.
CJ, you keep winning games. He's gonna have to keep the beard like the hockey players do in the playoffs. You keep growing that thing out. Superstition.
I don't see it happening. I don't see it happening with him. No way.
But last thing here, CJ, again, you're playing a Colts team, which we know is capable. They've got some playmakers on both sides of the football, national TV, on the road, short week. In terms of that quick turnaround, what is it going to take you over the next couple of days to make sure that your body is as close to 100% as possible to go out there and get ready to lay it on the line again for 60 minutes?
A lot of regen, a lot of rest going into this game, and like I said before, this week is more mental than physical preparation. We're built and we know what to do when we step on the football field. Whether we don't go over one play or not, we're gonna play our football game. So it's all about our mental preparation. Knowing our game plan and studying the coach for this short week. So we got a lot of presentations we got to put together in a few days. So this week is all about mental preparation.
CJ, thanks for a couple of minutes as always, my friend. I know it's on a short week. It's difficult. We always appreciate setting aside some time for us, and best of luck against the Colts on Thursday.
Thank you.
The champ.
All right, that is CJ Mosley joining us here on Inside the Jets. More to do, presented by EY, building a better working world. And welcome back into Inside the Jets, presented by EY, building a better working world. Dan Graca alongside Bart Scott. We thank CJ Mosley for spending some time with us. Another player making his return to that linebacking core for the New York Jets on Sunday. That was veteran Jarrad Davis making his season debut in the win over the Bengals. And after the game, he caught up with our team reporter, Ethan Greenberg.
Here with Jets linebacker Jarrad Davis. Jarrad, what a game to return to make your Jets debut in. Let's start with you. What was it like to be back for the first time this season?
I mean, it was exciting, man. It was everything that I remembered football as, you know what I'm saying? It's been a long road to get to this point. A lot of ups and downs, a lot of hard times before this season, and just being able to really just arrive at whatever's in front of me and just being able to conquer it, you know what I'm saying? And just being able to respond to whatever challenge comes my way has been a theme for me the past year, really. And it's just been exciting to be able to come out here and just really be able to really just have this outlet on the field and be able to really play and express myself with my teammates, man.
Defensively speaking, obviously you don't want to give up 31 points, but to close the door at the end there, what does that say about this group?
I mean, it just says a lot about us. We are constantly, every day, trying to establish our standard, man. Establish what we're going to be about. And coming out today just showed that the heart that we have. Now it's on us to hold ourselves accountable and keep ourselves to that level, to that standard, It's going to be a challenge every day because a lot of us know what this has been here. I came from Detroit. I knew what that was there. And that's the biggest challenge, being able to hold yourself accountable and stick to that standard every day, not only when it's game day, but in practice too.
And you've seen a lot of football through your career in the NFL. What did you see from this young offense, and what did you see from Mike White in particular?
I mean, Mike, man, I love the confidence. I mean, I've seen so many backup quarterbacks come in the game, and the game changes a little bit for the offense, but it seemed pretty open today. Mike came out, practiced hard this week, prepared the guys, and he's like a big quote for us is just for the offense, it's just never flinch, and they never flinch, man. A couple turnovers here and there, cool, but as long as we got a blade of grass to defend, we gonna work. We're going to get the ball back to the offense, and we're going to have fun doing it, man. And that's another big thing, too. It looked like everybody just enjoyed the moments today. There were some ups and downs, but we knew in those moments when we were down, we needed to turn it back up, man. And just being able to come out here and just put our hearts on the line, bro, that's what it's about. That's what it's about.
All right, Jarrad, let's wrap up with this. Being a veteran on this team, what's the next step for this group, and how do you make sure you guys don't ride this too high just like you don't ride the lows too low?
Well, the big thing that we always talk about, we're starting to really talk about now, is this one play. This one play. This was a game. This game is over. This play is behind us. Now we got the next play. And the next play is tonight, taking care of our bodies. We got to start being more, we got to promote being a veteran to everybody in that building. You got to take care of yourself. It's good to celebrate this win, but we know what's coming on Thursday. Thursday night game, we got to travel there, so we got to take care of our bodies tonight. We got to be smart. Everybody's got to get rest. Everybody's got to get a head start right now on Indy and get ready. We got to prepare ourselves as if we know that we're stepping into a win. not with just playing the next game. You know what I mean? So it's going to come with everything we do. Just really, it's like everybody. It's like being a human being, man. You got to learn how to flip the little things in order to get to the big prize, So.
Awesome, Jared. Appreciate the time. Congratulations.
Thank y'all, man. Y'all have a great evening.
All right, thanks a lot to Jared Davis. And Inside the Jets is brought to you by DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app today and use code GREEN for a special offer when you sign up only at DraftKings Sportsbook. Bart, you look around the league, and what we saw yesterday, it was the day of the backup quarterbacks, right? Not just Mike White like we had in our game.
Trevor Siemian
on Sunday Night Football. Trevor Siemian beats the Super Bowl champions down there at the Dome. I mean, starting quarterbacks, they dressed up as winning quarterbacks for Halloween, I guess.
Who needs them? Who needs them when you got a good backup? Like, listen, you have to tip your hat to these guys. You talk about coming in adverse situations. You talk about all the pressure that's on the Dallas Cowboys. Kirk Cousins, again, prime time can't get it done, falling short. And you really have to start figuring out or ask yourself, are there buyers or sellers? The big trade deadline's coming up. It's going to be a lot of guys that's going to be put up for auction, so to speak. You think about, Kyle Fuller. How many people really need, cornerbacks in this day and age right now? And he's probably one of the prime, one of the best, players out there. I understand that the Broncos got the win, but you think about, they have Patrick Surtain, they have their cornerbacks. They can get it done without them. And it's going to be interesting. Like, everybody's got to ask themselves, do we have enough? And how many teams are going to continue to push the chips into the middle of the table? That's really what the question is, right? Because now, with the news about Derrick Henry and potentially being out for the year, this is a team that has aspirations. Where do you go to try and get that productivity? So can Ryan Tannehill morph and become more of a passing quarterback, or can they find a steal? Do they have enough draft equity to go out and maybe call a team like Houston and say, hey, Houston, Miles Sanders is out there in Philadelphia, right? He's a guy. Now, none of these guys are Derrick Henry, but you got to try and go get some more firepower and try and do running back by committee. As you think about before yesterday, you would think that the Tennessee Titans had just as good a chance of winning a Super Bowl or representing the AFC in the Super Bowl because of their unique way of how they run an offense and the way Derrick Henry is as anybody in the league.
No, you're right about that. And look, I understand he's not a quarterback. He's a running back, but he means a heck of a lot to that team. And now it's going to be more pressure on that defense. It's going to be more pressure on Ryan Tannehill and those stable of receivers that he has when they're healthy to be able to guide this offense here. And, let's see if they could get it done. But Tennessee was shaping up. And look, they got the win yesterday, which makes it a little bit easier to digest. But moving forward now, we still got a long season. The complexity and the shape of that football team just changes dramatically if he's not going to be part of the mix.
Yeah, listen, New Orleans takes down the champs, and it seems like Sean Payton has Tom Brady's number. I understand that they beat him in the postseason, but you think about, 3 out of 4 to the Saints, and it looks impressive. They have something on Tom Brady. They have something on Todd Bowles, where they just get it done. They bring in Mark Ingram to try and bring back that physicality, give Alvin Kamara a little break. But eventually Michael Thomas is going to come back, and you ask yourself, will they make a trade for one of these quarterbacks? Understanding that Jameis Winston, they can't go anywhere with Trevor Siemian. They understand that, I know they have, I forget the other quarterback. Taysom Hill's coming back.
Yeah,
but Taysom Hill, I don't know, he excels more in his role. I don't know, man. It's interesting, right? We just had a move for the Jets for Joe Flacco. I don't know if Joe Flacco's really settled in his home, but it's moves to be made, and Joe Flacco is another commodity as well. But also Gardner Minshew mania. Can you see Minshew mania potentially in New Orleans? And can they get him up to snuff, or can they get him up to speed? We know he's a guy that's won some games. He has a little moxie. It's going to be interesting, man. That's what I'm excited for. Tuesday. Was it 12 o'clock? I don't know when it's over with, but Tuesday, it's going to be somebody that's going to make a move. Remember what the Ravens did last year when they went and got I just chop up all the names. Huh?
The DB, wasn't it? Or no.
The pass rusher from Minnesota. Yannick Ngakoue. Right? They push all their chips into the middle. And can Kansas City get back involved in it? Understanding that I always say San Diego. The Los Angeles Chargers took a step back to the Patriots. Can the Patriots make a run at it now that Tennessee potentially could be bowling out and losing some much, important games? So this thing is wide open right now. And every team, it's a lot of teams that say, hey, I think we can still get her done.
You know, the San Diego. See, you got me saying that. Chargers
Yeah,
lost a lot
it's
of luster
contagious.
last couple of weeks, right? They go out to Baltimore. They get absolutely embarrassed into the bye. They come off the bye, and New England flies across the country and beats them yesterday. Couple of rough Justin Herbert outings. Brandon Staley doesn't look as much of a genius anymore there, too. And let me go back real quick to Tampa Bay, because I was all over that game once we finally got home from the stadium there. That was a lot of self-inflicted wounds from Tampa yesterday. They had over 100 yards in penalties. They really made a lot of uncharacteristic mistakes and ended up contributing to them losing that football game.
But those turnovers were trap coverages, understanding where Brady wants to go with the ball, playing tight man-to-man, the safety coming off of his coverage, understanding they got him on two daggers, two little drive routes from that third guy. So that's preparation. That's understanding conceptually what Tom Brady likes to do off certain formations. They got him twice. You don't get him twice. It's not happenstance. And Godwin not crossing the face. That safety was sitting on that route and jumped it beautifully. And then, Tom Brady, still, you think he would maybe make it come down to an onside type of situation. Nah, they just sacked him twice. They get up out of here, old man. It's past your bedtime. And then you look at really the battle for Ohio this week, because what happens is Cleveland's fighting for their playoff lives. And I picked the Cleveland Browns not to make the playoffs, and everybody looked at me with the side eye. But if they lose to the Cincinnati Bengals, right, this thing is opened up. And now this is a 4-team race, because the Bengals was winning the division. Now they're tied with Baltimore. You look at the Pittsburgh Steelers, they have the Bears. You would think if they, are able to put a lot of pressure on Justin Fields, they'll be right there at 5-3. So everybody wants to bury the Pittsburgh Steelers, but they keep shaking that dirt off and patting it underneath their feet and being able to rise up out of that hole that they're in. So you talk about this season is going to be about a battle of attrition and who can keep their stars healthy. And you look at Baker Mayfield, he's injured, right? You
playing
look at
with one arm.
Playing with one arm, right? And listen, will Odell Beckham be moved? We know Deshaun Jackson wants to be moved, right? So will Beckham be moved? And what move will be the move that puts the team over the top? But right now, the most interesting battle right now is Cincinnati and Cleveland, because one of these teams that have playoff aspirations, dreams are going to take a big hit when they face each other this week, and they face each other again. So it's going to keep having those type of instances. That's why I love what the NFL has done in the recent years, making sure that some of those final games of the season are all divisional foes, which can mean the difference between making the postseason, winning your division, losing your division, going on the road, and all those things, et cetera, et cetera.
Count for double. Absolutely. Get to MetLife Stadium this November to see your New York Jets host the Buffalo Bills on Sunday, November 14th, and the Miami Dolphins on Sunday, November 21st. Lock in your seats at nyjets.com/tickets. So you got a good race going on in the AFC North, like you said there. Jets are going to be playing the AFC South once again. We know that they were successful earlier this season. They beat the Tennessee Titans. Now you're going to go take on an Indianapolis Colts team. Colts were involved in a 34-31 game yesterday, just like the Jets were, except they came out on the other end of it, losing in overtime here. This is a very winnable game. I know it's a short week, and I know it's on the road, but the Jets could go into Indianapolis and beat the Colts on Thursday.
Yeah, but listen, they got to understand that these guys just had a physical game. I understand that the advantage usually goes to the home team because they don't have to travel. But if the Jets go in there, they can pounce on them early. Understand that, Carson Wentz will throw you one. I know the Jets don't have a lot of interceptions, but he's made some bad decisions with the football. They're going to lean on the running game. And listen, that's the Jets' forte. That's, this is strength versus strength. As you think about Taylor, you think about Hines, you think about Mack. T.Y. Hilton got dinged up. I think he probably won't be available in a short week. But they have to make sure that they take away Pittman just like they took away Jamar Chase, and make sure that they make him have to find different, guys to go to. If you're going to lose, you're not going to lose because Pittman goes off, and you're not going to lose because you think Taylor's going to not, go off. Understand what Taylor did to the Baltimore Ravens, 75 yards on a screen pass. He's a guy that's a big, powerful back, but he's probably one of the fastest guys in all the NFL, former track star. They got to make sure that they keep him bottled up, because if he gets loose, you're going to see the back of his jersey all the way as he makes a reservation for 6 and hits his head on the goalpost.
We'll see if the Jets can make it 2 in a row. Bart, great job as always, my friend. We'll do it again next week.
My pleasure. You like my 2 different scenic studios? I just want to switch it up for you guys.
It's variety. It's the variety. That's why you are who you are. Love it. Thanks to C.J. Mosley for joining us as well. He's Bart Scott. I'm Dan Graca. Thanks for listening to Inside the Jets, presented by EY, building a better working world. So long, everybody.